What is up, Drop Shot Nation? Steve here, doing the first video here with my buddy Nike. We're in the man cave here in the garage. Come here, buddy. Say hi to everyone. Okay, cool. All right, get out of the kayak. We have a 2-day tournament coming up this weekend. We're up here in Michigan. It is getting near the end of May. Fish are moving up to spawn. Tournament style is MLF style. Most fish 14 inches or bigger, and there's some guys from California, Oklahoma participating, so it's going to take 300 plus inches in 2 days to take home a load of money, which is cool. I'm sitting in a Native Propel 13. Love this kayak. I got it rigged up, ready to go. But the reason I want to talk to you today is about drop shotting. It's my absolute favorite technique to catching fish anywhere in the country, but specifically in the Midwest. So whether you're talking the reservoirs in Indiana, farm ponds, up here in Michigan, we're blessed with Lake St. Clair and Holton Lake, and tons of rivers that hold a lot of smallmouth. And that's what I'm going to be targeting this weekend. And I got a few tips and tricks. I've been fishing the drop shot style since this kind of came on the scene. Aaron Martin was doing it, and get to talk with some pros about it every once in a while, just through my job, that sort of thing. And I want to talk some do's and don'ts, some tips and tricks on this. If you're first getting into drop shotting, or you may want to just refine some of your technique. I'm not perfect at it, but have some ideas and some reasoning behind it, and some stuff that I've learned from some of the pro staff. So we'll dive right in. First thing I want to talk about is the basic setup. 6.5 to 7 foot medium light rod. This is the Abu Garcia Fantasista Premier. That is a Patriarch 30 size reel. We have 8-pound NanoFill on here. I like NanoFill because it's no stretch, it's a unifilament. It's high vis. As you can see, a lot of pro anglers are turning to the high vis, and the reason for that is because every once in a while a fish will hit on the downfall, or you can see the strike on your line before you can feel it. Although with this line being no stretch, it is highly sensitive. There's a lot of guys that run straight mono. There's a lot of guys that run straight fluoro. I prefer a combination of both, and the reason is I want the sensitivity, but I want the clarity of the leader line. So what I will typically do is I will tie this knot right here. I'll go up the line a little bit. You can see that right there. That's the Alberto knot. YouTube it, I guess, to figure out how to tie it. It's a really easy knot. It's a great one to have in your arsenal for connecting leaders to braid. It's an awesome little rig. So I prefer the 30 size, just out of personal preference. Some guys like the 40 size for more pickup. You want this rig to be light. Although it's a vertical technique, sometimes you are going to pitch it out a little bit. So that's really the basics. 8 to 10 pound main line, 6 or 8 pound on your leader. You want, depending on where you're at, sometimes up to 20 feet. I typically run between 4 and 10 feet, given whatever situation it might be. Ideally, you don't want the fish to see your high vis line in a clear water situation like a Lake St. Clair or a Cherokee Lake or that sort of thing. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into this. Hooks. Something I learned fishing the FLW with a guy named Mark Modrak, who's a local stick over there. Awesome guy. I don't think he'll care that I share this tip, but when you're fishing for smallmouth, a lot of guys will use a size 1 or a size 2 drop shot hook. I was losing a lot of fish. They were nose hooked, skin hooked. I wasn't doing well over on St. Clair and some other bodies of water, and he said, look at upping your hook size. Doesn't really matter to the fish, but it's going to get past that bony part of their hook that's just skin on bone. There's nothing fleshy to get into it. So what I have here, try not to break my rod, is a 1/0 Berkley Fusion 19 drop shot hook. And I like this hook because similar to Gamakatsu and Owner, it's got a slick coat on it. It's not overly sharp, so it's not brittle, and it's got that perfect gap for drop shotting. Something else I learned fishing with a gentleman named Joe Hale over there, if you're in a body of water that has a lot of perch, if it has a lot of drum in it, like Lake Erie, again, St. Clair, Muskegon Lake, you know, any lake connected to the Great Lakes pretty much, you want to keep your leader short. The reason for this is those more predatorial fish, I know it's hard to get more predatorial than smallmouth, but they're going to be feeding up higher in the water column, when smallmouth are going to be relatively close to the bottom. So I was catching a lot of big drum, was psyched that I had big fish on, but you know, they get up and I'd be like, crap, you know, I'm not interested in that. So under 12 inches, this is about an 8-inch leader. So I'm going to be fishing in relatively clear water for smallmouth. I'm going to be fishing in current. So I got this banana-shaped drop shot weight. It does well in current, doesn't get hung up. Something else you'll notice is that I tie a kind of a half hitch knot before I pull it up there into the little socket there. Helps it stay on, not lose many weight, save some money. That's the way to do it. So, medium light, this is a, I believe 7.3. Up 610, medium light. Again, Fantasy still ultra sensitive, you know, Japanese designed blank, just a great all-around rod. So that's the first setup. This hook is mainly for nose hooking baits, and we'll get into some baits later that are sort of the preferred in the area. And again, when you're tying these hooks on, the first thing you're going to do is tie a polymer knot and leave a long tag end, like leave a 2-foot tag end if you have to. You can always shorten it, but you can't make it any longer. So it's a polymer knot, and then you're going to pass the tag end down through the hook. That's going to allow the point of the hook to stay up. That's something a lot of people miss. Okay, otherwise it's just going to spin, right? It's going to be on sideways. So you can see that tag end is coming through the front of the eyelet, going down. So it sets like that down to your weight. Make sense? Had to learn that one the hard way. Okay. Second drop shot style is very similar. This is a little lighter rod. This is a RoboWorm finesse hook. Ultra light wire. See that? This is on 6 pound. Sometimes I'll even get down to 4 pound. It's really clear. The fish are really finicky. I'm going to be using this mainly fishing. Hey, stay out of there, dude. Mainly fishing vertically, and this is going to be a RoboWorm only bait. I'm running this again on a size 30 Patriarch ultra high vis line. It makes a difference, trust me. And this is a Mike Iaconelli 610 medium light. You can fish anything down to a 3/32 ounce on this rod. Good backbone, but some give up top. Another thing, drag. A lot of people lose fish because their drag's too tight. You're not going to lose many fish because your drag's too loose. So when you're setting the hook, drop shotting, it's different from those power fishing dudes, which I do myself. And you know, you don't just crank on them, right? You feel them and you just lean into them and start reeling. There's nothing more needed. You're using ultralight wire hooks. They're going to get jammed up in there. You're going to get a good hook set, and you're not going to have any issues. However, if you swing, you're going to rip it out of their mouth. So don't swing. So when you're setting your drag, make sure you don't pull it from the reel to set it. Pull it from the line, so you know what sort of pressure it's going to take to set that drag. And again, lighter is better. Okay, you're not horsing these fish in, but it is a big bass style. You're going to catch a lot of fish, which I need to for this tournament. But you know, quick story. My fishing partner is Power Fishing Guy. You know, we fish tournaments here in Michigan, and he is just the bomb. He's good at skipping. He's good jig fishing. You know, he's a jerkbait guy. Carolina rigging. He swings hard. He's got good leverage on those fish. He lands pretty much every fish. What makes us a good team is that I have the finesse off the back, and I think I'm pretty good at it. Time will tell, I suppose, but that combination makes for just a deadly duo. If they're in shallow, in Michigan here we have a lot of weeds that grow up, and then there'll be just a hard line at 15 feet. And he can fish inside the weed bed and I can pitch the outside. I'm catching those fish that are post-spawn that have pulled back a little bit. He's catching the fish that are sunning themselves. If we get in a tight spot, we can go out deep and he can pull a Carolina rig and I can watch the graph and mark fish and pitch to them. And it's been successful for us. Again, it's important to find a good tournament partner. So the third and final drop shot style that I don't want to miss on. There's a guy up here in Michigan who's a pretty good stick from the sounds of it. His name's Ben Nielsen. There's a local article about power shotting. It's a technique that I've tried and been successful with for big fish, especially bedding fish. It's more of a power technique, as you'll see. The setup can vary for this. This is a Abu Garcia Veracity. This is a medium heavy, but it's pretty stiff rod. This is a 7'6", 50-pound Ultracast spider wire and a Revo high-speed reel. Same kind of setup, but no leader on this. This is just down and dirty, braided line to a flipping hook. That's a 3/0 flipping hook. You heard me right, 3/0 flipping hook and a 3/4 ounce weight. This is going to punch through grass, not Florida grass, but Midwest grass, and it's going to present a creature style bait in a good way. So that's the basics on setups. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram, Dropshot Nation, and I want to show you what I bring with me in a drop shot situation. So this is it. This is my box for drop shot for all my terminal tackle. Okay, there's different sized weights and different sized hooks for different situations. We went over the banana shaped hook or weights. Banana. We went over the straight ones. So bananas for current. Straight's just around some weeds, sparse weeds, mud, sand. If you're pitching it into docks, you can get away with it. Straight one. And then there's the round head ones. Okay, these are definitely for rocks. They'll clang around in there. They won't get snagged up. And then for hooks, like I said, a lot of guys are running size 1s and 2s. I highly recommend for smallmouth, 1/0 Berkley Fusion 19, slick set coat on that, and even up to a 2/0. Jordan Lee on, where was that, St. Clair was running a 2/0 to a fluke, drop shotting for toad smallies. So a 2/0 would work as well. Sometimes for largemouth, you can downsize to a 1 if you really feel like you want to. We went over the rebarb robo worm hooks, and don't be afraid to fish some tungsten. A little extra feel, a little extra money, whatever. Personal preference there. Okay, let's dive into some baits. First and foremost, new Max scent from Berkley. A lot of smelliness. It's combined the best of two worlds, right? You got gulp on this hand, you got power bait on this hand. Gulp dries up, can be a little finicky. Power bait doesn't. Let's combine them together. So you got the great gulp smell, power bait shapes, and the power bait quality of the plastics. This is all new plastic, and I am in love with this bait right here. Super supple, 3-inch, flat nose minnow. See how that nose is flat there? I know it's moving a lot. Great drop shot bait. I love that bait. Okay. Creature bait. Power shotting right there. Stinky, ribbed, perfect structure, great size, and also the hitworm. It's gonna be your basic 4-inch nose hook, a lot of action. That's another thing I want to hit on, action. A lot of guys will cast it out and just shake that thing. Shake, 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 shake. Again, fishing St. Clair. If you're going to St. Clair, that's where I fished a lot. Let the current move the bait. Baits are so phenomenal these days that they're so just supple. They have so much movement that it's hard to work them any more than the current is. Of course, a shake here or there But cast them out and leave them and just hold on. I mean, a lot of the time if you're around fish, you don't need to put a whole bunch of action into it. If it's a flat glass day, yes, you want to put some action into it, but most situations, not really necessary. So we go over some of the baits that I like. These are Great Lakes specific. Probably recognize this. This is an Erie darter. It's 4-inch and a 3-inch from Poor Boys. Perch, goby, minnows. It's just a go-to around the state. Down in Indiana, it's an awesome bait. Hard to beat. Another one, this one would be to use with the Robo Worm hook, the rebarb hook. Morning Dawn Robo Worm. This is 4-inch. I run the 6-inch, the 7-inch too, trying to catch those bigger fish. You don't have to have a whole lot for action. Of course, we don't have to have a whole lot for fishing in general, but we do. If you can see this place, it's a madhouse. Okay. One of my favorites also, hard to argue with KVD and JVD. The Strike King team is the Dream Shot. As you can see, get a selection of different colors, natural. You got the bright for muddy water, different sizes. Again, I just nose hook them. You go through them, so I like to have, I have this box that I'll bring on the water, but then I'll have another box backed up just in bags. So that's really it. It's the basics of drop shotting. So 6.5 to 7 foot, medium light, braid to an Alberto knot to 6 or 8 pound, smallmouth 1/0 hook. You can use smaller for largemouth if you really want to, but hookups are much better with the 1/0. Rebarb hook, power shotting is braid. That's really meant for punch and grass and fish on beds. So I really like both those styles. I'm going to follow up this video with another video, so stay tuned. We're going to talk about finesse fishing, some new products on the market, some stuff that haven't hit the market, and some finesse style baits for really clear deep water fish. So Cherokee Lake, Lanier, those sort of lakes, spotted bass, what works there, what doesn't, and just some of my ideas about it, stuff that's worked for me personally as just an average Joe weekend guy. So that's it. If you have any questions, again, Drop Shot Nation on Instagram, shoot me a message, and until next time.